everybody, and thank you for joining me today. So still working on establishing the diagonal on the left edge for the next pass across this this piece. Oh, yeah, made a lot of good progress this month, so I'm pretty happy with that. Just gonna see what I want to do next. Okay, so we're coming close to the end of this diagonal here, so all right. I think I'm gonna meander with this this thread a little bit, and I'll attach another one later. But once I get to the next section, I'm kind of finishing off the bottom of this diagonal here. Yeah, so it's a much nicer day today. There's a little bit of blue sky peeking through the clouds, and a little bit of almost a light purple on the horizon. It's quite pretty. Yeah, it was interesting. One time I saw what almost looked like a little rainbow in the snow clouds, except it wasn't a bow shape. It was just sort of this cluster of colors. And yeah, but it looked really neat. Apparently somebody said it was, I think, a oh, I can't remember, something kind of arc. So it's kind of like light refraction, similar to a rainbow, except without rain. So yeah, it was really neat. It was like a clear winter day. Just a little bit of cloud. So I kind of said, should I call it like a cloud bow? But yeah, it was really nice. Yeah, or I've seen a double rainbow once. The bottom one was, when you have a rainbow that's really bright, if you look above it, sometimes there will be a second one. My dad said when he was a kid, he actually saw a triple rainbow once, and he said the bottom one was so bright you almost couldn't look at it. It's like, well, that's cool. Oh, or it was really cute. Somebody said, their grandson said, you know, Grandma, come and look, there's a dead rainbow in the driveway. And it was an oil slick, you know, from an oil leak on the car on the ground. It's like, kids are awesome, the stuff they come up with. Yeah, like my son, when he was about 7 or something, he found a fork that had only 3 tines on it, and he says, Mom, look, it's a threek. So yeah, they've become known as threeks in our house forever after that. Or somebody said, their kid said, there's night behind the bush, and they thought they meant like a little toy figurine. No, it was because there was a cricket in the shadow behind the bush, and it was chirping. And so since crickets chirp at night, to the kid, there was night behind the bush. It's like, oh, that's cool. So yeah, we're at 32.15%. So I'm thinking we'll hit 33 to close out January, at least 33, so that's cool. So we'll be a third done in just under 2 months since I started this, like December 7th. So we missed the first week of December because I was still working on the last piece. But then if that stays true to form, it means it'll be about another 4 months or less until this is done, which seems super fast compared to the great big projects. So Pardon me. Oh man, yeah. Last night I got scared in the middle of the night because I got up to use the bathroom and my husband got up at the same time, and because I sleep with earplugs in, I didn't hear him get up. So I walked towards the bathroom, suddenly there's somebody standing there just about had a heart attack. And apparently I scared him too because of my reaction. So yeah. Like, sorry. I'm a bit jumpy sometimes. So yeah, this thread I kind of carried down to this branch here, and I'll add a new one when I get to that area. But first, once I reach sort of the bottom of this diagonal, I'm gonna go back up to the top and work my way downwards again. So I may do 70 rows in this pass, I'm thinking, because then that will leave me 62 rows in the very last pass, rather than 72. So we'll see. Like I said, it's kind of depends on what fits comfortably in my frame. I don't like to work too close to the edges. It can be a bit awkward to tie off threads and such when you're too close to the edges of your frame. Yeah, once I have this one stitched up, I'm not sure if I'll finish it right away, since I do have my Ocarina of Time piece that I plan to make, which is a lot bigger, but I may wait so that I can use the same fabric to mount both of them, so it'll be matching. We'll see. Or I might not. I might just use black for both of them, which obviously is pretty easy to match then. Because, yeah, black goes nicely with everything. Yeah, because I was thinking maybe a green, because, you know, that Link's color, but then this is so much blues and purples that, yeah, I don't think a green would go well. So maybe black for both of them would work well. The Ocarina of Time one has a ton of black in it because it looks meant to look like a stained glass window. So yeah, in between the panels of the stained glass, it's all black. Oh man, I think there's like 200,000 stitches of black. So yeah, that is definitely going to be one that I outline the black and fill it in slowly in between other projects. But I got quite a few ahead of them, because after this piece is done, I plan to do the Peacocks one, the Marvelous Garden by Heaven and Earth Designs, will be my next focus piece. And then I'm thinking I'll probably do Deer Creek, because that fabric is ready to go. That is the one that I messed up when I first started the Marvelous Garden, and I did the the 01 white tin instead of the white. And I discovered that's because Deer Creek is smaller. I said if I turn my fabric, I can just cut off the part that I screwed up. So yeah. And then that way, I didn't waste all of that time that I spent gridding the fabric too. Okay, so we're at the bottom of this diagonal, so put these aside. I'm going to head back up to the top here. Okay, lot of threads here. So, let's see if I can get this. There we go. Yeah, we got a whole whack ton here. So this part should definitely be interesting to stitch. All right, so yeah, we're working on Anjou again here. And then her grandma's down here, so we'll probably get some of her in this diagonal. I'm not sure if it'll be enough detail to actually see her. We'll get there. Yeah, it's hard to believe the first month of this new year is almost done. The older you get, the faster time goes. It was funny, somebody said it's kind of like, imagine a paper towel roll. It takes a lot longer to go around the whole circumference than when you get closer to the center. And they said maybe that's how life is too. It's kind of an interesting analogy. Okay, put this back in the envelope. Ooh. Yeah, this is a shorter piece. Thinking it might just be enough for these 3 stitches, and then I'm going to have to I'm going to have to add another one. Be careful, I have some cloth from the first pass sort of bunched up at top. Gotta make sure I don't accidentally cut into that when I'm clipping threads, because that would really suck. So yeah, I like to pinch up close to the fabric and then carefully snip it below, so you're only cutting that one thread that you want to actually cut. Yeah, so we'll see how much we get done this session. There's more confetti here, so 791. See what we've got for leftover bits here. Yeah, these are too short. So we will start a new one. Feel that didn't feel quite right. Got a knot in it. Let's see if I can remove it or not. Come on. Perfect. So yeah, use a spare needle and kind of stick it in the knot. Sometimes you can get it to come apart that way. Apparently that's I read how sailors undo big knots. You have some kind of tool like a little wooden or metal stick that you can use to help pick knots apart. So I do a similar thing with a needle. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but it's always worth a try before you have to resort to cutting it and restarting. Okay. 3808. So usually, oh, I thought these were two the same length. Let's see. Nope, they're not. Okay. I was going to do this as an away thread, but they are not. They're not the same length. They look like it at first. But, so we will do a loop start with a shorter piece. I think this will be enough to do 6 stitches anyway, by my estimate. Okay, where am I? Right here. Okay. Yeah, that's the 60 row. So just double checking because I know I stopped at the 60 row on the previous pass. So yeah, I've seen somewhere if people use pen, washable pen, they write what the row number is for easy reference. I find since I leave a straight line across, it's not that difficult to tell which is which. I know sort of the top of this pass is at 60, so I can just sort of count the grid lines from there. Never done a pattern from this this seller before. Pixels and Bits on Etsy. I have a few video game themed. There was one that's a map of Hyrule, which is pretty cool. Oh yeah, I think this was just the right length I grabbed. This is a really dark color. I just want to be certain it's not going to show through. I think the other colors are dark too, but just to be safe, I'm going to draw that along the back. Okay. Okay, this isn't very long, so I may have to add a new thread pretty soon. So actually, I think this might only be enough for these 4, and then I'll have to add another one. Yeah, it's been wild lately with all the supply chain issues. I haven't been able to find cornstarch for a month. Actually, I think I'll get a bit more out of this. Yeah, I finally had to order some from Amazon. Yeah, nobody's got it. Every grocery store shelf has been bare. I almost didn't have enough to make shortbread cookies last month for Christmas. It was a good thing I only made a single batch. I didn't have enough for a double batch, that's for sure. So yeah, now that I've done that, Amazon's algorithm is going to start probably trying to get me to buy all my groceries there. Oh, look at that. Just realized that last color I did, there's a loose loop there. I'm going to see if I can find the end to pull it taut. Or if not, that one was it. Ah, perfect. Got it nice and neat again. Okay, good, because I clipped it. If I had to pull it back out to resecure it, it would have been a really fiddly short little end to work with. I've managed to do that before, but I really don't want to if I can help it. Ugh. Okay. Gosh, I'm not having luck today with these knots. There we go. Okay, I'm going to unthread that because it's a very short piece and it's going to be a while till I get to it again, I think. Okay, and I'm going to see how long this other part thread is. Okay, that's a decent length too. Okay, let's see what paths I'm going to do with them. Yeah, so we finally went through my kiddo's playroom and purged a bunch of stuff. We did a huge purge at the house in like 2017, but yeah, we went through and thinned a lot of stuff out. Got rid of the toys for younger kids, so he still got all his Legos, of course. And now he can actually draw on his desk instead of working on the floor. Although it's funny, he likes to draw while draped over my yoga ball. Yeah, he'll have the pad of paper on the floor and just drape himself over the yoga ball on his stomach while he draws. $37.99. Okay, no short pieces this time, so. Then I'll have some leftover pieces for later. Okay. Yeah, make sure I go into the right big square of 100 there. Don't want to mess that up. There'll be some bigger blocks in later diagonals here, so that'll go pretty quick. move those threads downwards. Otherwise, if they're tucked up this way and I'm trying to stitch by them, it can get tangled up. So even though, like, say, this one is in the next diagonal, sometimes I'll just bring it down so it doesn't get tangled and cause problems. And then once I sort of get this filled in, then I'll tuck it back up out of the way again. Okay, 37.50. Another dark blue. This one I'm parking it in here is kind of out of the diagonal, but I think I'll do it anyway once I get there because, yeah, it's pretty close. Sometimes I go over that line when it makes sense too. Try not to split my fabric there. Okay, I did this one here. So that I could do this one next to it, and then I'll park it below and unthread then. So this one I'm going to tuck back up because I've done that corner of this top of this diagonal here. Oh, let's not do that. Oh gosh. I don't know how it manages to tie itself into a knot that like that. Let's see if we can pick it apart. Goodness, like how do I even manage to do that? My needle must have gone like actually through the fibers, I think. Yeah, my gosh. That one I got out. Yeah, that one I don't think. Okay, so what I'm going to do is clip this loose end really close there. And that way I can pull it free. So the ends won't be perfectly even anymore, but oh well. I'll just trim that as well. So unthread this and I'll just trim off the extra bit there. Okay, there we go. So park and mark. Now move further down. All right, so okay, so I'm going to head over to the left again and start working my way back out. I think I'm only going to get one stitch out of this, maybe two. We'll see. there are only 2 stitches left close by here, so I'm going to try and see if I can get the second one. Yeah, it's going to be close, but I think we'll manage. But again, I won't bother leaving that threaded because that is just too short and it is not going to stay secure. Yeah, I'm probably going to have a couple of threads here. I really don't want to jump around a lot with this. Yeah, so I'm going to do one here, and I'll do a short piece down here for those other stitches, I'm thinking. It's funny saying we cleaned out kiddo's playroom. I found like, 6 pairs of scissors and, 4 rolls of tape and all my Sharpies. Oh my gosh. But yeah, I do not like clutter. I have to say, after I did my big house purge in 2017, we've been pretty successful in not letting things build back up, so. Yeah, I've only got like 3 boxes to go to the donation bins. When we did the big house purge in 2017, I think I had like 4 carloads. Yeah, it was a lot of stuff. Well, we've been in the house for over 10 years. Before that, I never stayed very long. We always moved every couple of years. So, nothing had a chance to really build up. When you're moving, you discover how much stuff you really don't need. You don't want to pack it and then unpack it. So, yeah, it would sort of be a normal purge time then. But then, yeah, we've been living in this house since 2006. So we've been over 10 years. So, yeah, at that point. And we've been living here since before our son was born. So we had, tons of baby stuff that obviously he didn't need anymore at, 10 years old. So, yeah, there's tons of Duplo blocks and board books and stuff like that yeah, he just didn't need anymore. He did really well. He was a little nervous at first till I told him, well, no, we wouldn't get rid of any of his favorite stuff. If he really wanted to keep something, we would keep it. And so we went through, and he was actually willing to get rid of a lot more than I thought. So, yeah. There were a few things actually he wanted to get rid of that I said, no, I'm going to hang on to them because they had sentimental value for me. I told him if he doesn't take his beloved stuffed bunny, that was his first favorite stuffy, with him when he moves away, when he grows up, I said, I'm keeping it because, yeah, it's too precious. Yeah, it was this little purple floppy rabbit, stuffed rabbit that his grandma gave him in an Easter basket. Just one of those little cheap toys they have in a bin that you just throw in there. And yeah, that was his favorite for a long time. He couldn't sleep without that thing. Yeah. Had to be washed so many times. And it was funny because we used to go to a Mums and Tots group when he was littler. And so one week after I had washed that bunny, and one of the ladies there said, oh, it's purple. Because, kids' toys are always dingy gray when they're little. I said they should make them all just a dingy gray color because that's the color they're going to turn. Yeah. As my husband's mom says, they get loved to death. Yeah, poor little guy. One time we were there and I hear this blood-curdling scream and I look and he's standing over the garbage can and he accidentally dropped his bunny in there. And he thought that meant it's gone forever, right? Poor little guy. He was like 2. And yeah, I pulled it out and dusted it off. And I said, luckily it wasn't a gross garbage either. It was just a paper garbage can, right? From kids doing arts and crafts. So we didn't even need to wash him, just dust him off and he was fine. Poor little guy though. He thought he'd thrown it away forever. Yeah, he was old enough to know what the garbage can is, but not old enough to know that you can rescue things from it, you know. Yeah, and then he had his little blanket that we ended up calling Raggy instead of Blanky because it was just a total rag by the end. It was funny. He would go to bed, he'd take this little stuffed snowman and the bunny, and then he would throw the snowman out. This was when he was like still in a crib, and then hold on to the bunny. And one time he accidentally threw the bunny, and then he looks down at his other hand and realizes he's holding the snowman, and then he freaks out. It's like, don't worry, Mom can get him, you know. So yeah, it was called Baby. It was just named Baby Bunny. It was pretty cute too because I had some old doll clothes I found, and there was a set of little footed pajamas that it fit the bunny. So one of his bedtime routine was he would get into his pajamas, and then he would dress the bunny in those pajamas. So they were both ready in their footed pajamas to go to sleep. It's pretty cute. Even had a little pair of bloomers that he put on him for his underwear. It was so cute. Okay. All right, so yeah, I'm gonna use a separate small piece there. Perfect. Oh, didn't realize I already had this one out in my working tray. Perfect, in fact. That means I won't have to start a brand new big piece either. Leftover little ones. That's really fuzzy. I'll see if I can. Oh, we got it. Oh, right. Pulled a little too hard. Pulled my loop right out. Try that again. Yeah, I found it interesting when playing this Majora's Mask game. If you would just follow one character through the whole 3-day cycle, you could see some interesting little storyline bits. Like Anjou, it rains on the second day. And if you follow her out of the inn, she goes walking with an umbrella. And she goes and sits on the bench outside of Kafi's house. And then if you talk to her, she basically says, you know, she's afraid to go knock on his door or whatever. Like, what if he's disappeared because he doesn't want to see her? Because, of course, he's the one who got turned into a kid by the skull kid with the mask, Majora's mask. Yeah. And then she's sad. She kind of cries for a bit, and then she walks back to the inn and goes back to work. It's like, yeah, we don't win any items or anything, but it's pretty cool to sort of, yeah, see them go through their regular routines, even though the world is ending. Yeah. And then, of course, you can affect it. If you don't do anything, she goes to the ranch to evacuate to the ranch, hoping they'll be safe there for the third day. And if you do interfere in her and Kafi's storyline, then she waits for him to marry him on the night of the festival, the night of the final day. Yeah, there was just so many interesting little Easter eggs and things put into this game. Really enjoyed that. And the ways people's attitudes change as the time goes by, like the guy at the what you might call it, the defense school or whatever, you know, he starts off, I'm not afraid, I'm not gonna hide, you know, nothing will happen, I'll punch the moon kind of thing. And then by the third day, if you go back to his shop, there's some crates and stuff, and if you go behind them, he's back there hiding, and oh, I don't want to die. Like, yeah, so much for his bravado, which I didn't even know till I watched, you know, one of the videos about it. But yeah, it's pretty cool. 3807, which, yeah, I guess you could see that happening, right? Somebody's all big talk until the actual it's actually coming down to the wire, and all of a sudden they're not so tough anymore. Okay, 798. Yeah, so I find I manage about 12 to 15,000 stitches per month. So 12,000 stitches on this pattern is a quarter of it. So that would, yeah. But I mean, of course, it's like I said, it depends a lot on how much time I have to stitch. If there's a lot of confetti in the pattern, of course, makes a huge difference, that sort of thing. And I have been rotating other projects in for a few days on them, not working exclusively on this one, mostly on this one. Yeah, I'm not an entirely monogamous stitcher. I do switch projects, but I try to focus mainly on one piece. I really like to be able to get a lot of progress done and actually finish stuff. Yeah, I've seen some where people have like 50 works in progress. Like, yeah, I don't think my stress could take that. Not that there's anything wrong with that, of course. You know, this is a hobby, it should be fun. But yeah, I love stitching, but I do love having a finished product too. I don't think I'd be happy just swapping through works in progress forever and never finishing anything. I really like to have stuff that's finished too. Yeah, one of my friends says she'd worry if you have, you know, dozens of projects started, maybe your taste will change, you know, and you'll decide you actually didn't like that picture so much after all, years from now, and then your work will be wasted. That would really suck. But I mean, like I said, to each their own. Do what makes you happy. was able to get quite a bit done today. All of this here and this down here. Yeah. Like I said, that's one nice thing I like with this method. There's no missed stitches, so I find you can really see your progress. So this is out of the diagonal, but it's still threaded, and I won't be closing anything in, so I think I'll do a few stitches with this anyway. And there we go with the knots again. Seems to be this color. Oh gosh. Come on. Let go, would you? There, got it. Good. I was a little worried I was going to have to cut that out, but thankfully no. Yeah, I don't know if it just seems like this color is knotting more, or if it's just that, you know, I'm using it quite a bit in this pattern. So of course, you know, just by law of proportions, the one that you're using the most, you're going to get the most knots in, simply for, yeah, it has more opportunities to knot up on you. But I don't know, some colors I do find more prone to knotting than others, like 434 seemed to be a really unlucky one for me, for just knotting up like crazy. Okay, so I am going to take all of these here, because they're in the next diagonal, and I'm just going to tuck them away so that I can carry on down this way. Oh, give myself a stretch here. Yeah, because I kind of can't really continue on with those unless I fill in this stuff to the left of it first, so. Oh, I didn't go. Yeah, I pierced the fabric instead of going down on the hole there. Try that again. Okay, let's see. Okay, I'm going to add another one there. Let's see what I got for short bits. this should be just right to do those 3. I think I'll end on a nice even 160 with this. So it's 158, and then I'm going to do these 2 along the edge here and then park it. I think that is where we will stop for the day. Sounded like a knot, but I think it undid itself. Yeah, once I actually pulled the thread through the fabric. Sometimes you get lucky that way. All right, and then park it there. Good, so an even 160. I think that is where I'm going to quit for the day. So, as usual, thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope to see you here again another time. All right, thanks everyone. Bye.